The Middle East stands on the edge of a wider war, a precipice of uncertainty where long-simmering tensions threaten to boil over into a full-blown regional conflict. The stakes are incredibly high, with global powers watching with bated breath. As Israel and Iran move from shadow conflict, a clandestine game of cat and mouse played out in the shadows for years, to open confrontation. The gloves are off, and the rhetoric is escalating, raising fears of a direct military clash. President Trump has set a 2-week deadline for a decision, a critical juncture that could determine the course of action for the United States and its allies in the region. The world awaits his next move. Will the U.S. intervene militarily? Will it choose to engage directly in the escalating conflict, or will it opt for a more diplomatic approach? The answer remains shrouded in uncertainty. Every move from Washington, every statement, every policy shift, Tehran, the heart of Iran's power, and Jerusalem is under intense scrutiny, as leaders on both sides weigh their options and prepare for what may come. With the world watching for signs of war or peace, desperate for any indication of which path these nations will choose, the global community holds its breath, hoping for de-escalation. This is a final window for diplomacy, a fleeting opportunity to find a peaceful resolution before the situation spirals out of control. If it fails, the consequences could be catastrophic, unleashing a wave of violence and instability that could engulf the entire region and beyond. For Iran, the cost of defiance is higher than ever. Crippling sanctions are already taking a toll on its economy, and further escalation could lead to even greater hardship. For Israel, it's a test of trust in its U.S. ally, a crucial moment to determine whether it can rely on American support in the face of existential threats. Trump's decision will define his foreign policy, shaping his legacy on the global stage and setting the tone for future U.S. involvement in the Middle East. Non-intervention or a hardline stand against Iran's nuclear ambitions, a choice that will have far-reaching implications for the future of nuclear proliferation and regional security. The conflict has already escalated, tensions are rising, and the risk of miscalculation is growing with each passing day. With direct attacks breaking years of proxy warfare, shattering the established norms, and pushing the region closer to the brink of all-out war. Trump's strategic ambiguity, a calculated approach designed to keep his adversaries guessing, I may do it, I may not, a cryptic message that leaves everyone wondering about his true intentions, keeps Tehran guessing and global markets on edge, as investors brace for potential shocks and uncertainty in the region. The U.S. believes Iran is weakened by Israeli strikes, a series of targeted operations aimed at degrading Iran's military capabilities and deterring further aggression, betting that maximum pressure will force a breakthrough, compelling Iran to return to the negotiating table and address concerns about its nuclear program. But one misstep, one miscalculation, could unleash a war with global repercussions, a conflict that could draw in multiple nations and destabilize the entire world. President Trump's terms for Iran are clear, definitive, and leave little room for misinterpretation. These terms represent a significant departure from previous diplomatic approaches. The first and foremost demand is to dismantle the nuclear program, a complete cessation of all activities related to nuclear weapons development. This includes a non-negotiable requirement to stop all uranium enrichment, regardless of the level or purpose. This is seen as a critical step to prevent Iran from acquiring the materials needed for a nuclear weapon. Furthermore, Iran must allow full, unfettered international inspections, granting access to any and all sites declared or undeclared to verify compliance. These are not negotiation points, they're ultimatums, non-starters designed to force immediate and comprehensive action. The U.S. demands total transparency, a level of openness that goes beyond standard international agreements. This extends even to Iran's most sensitive sites, including military installations and research facilities, leaving no room for hidden activities. Trump warns of severe consequences if Iran refuses to comply with these demands, hinting at potential military action. And while military plans are ready if diplomacy fails, the hope is that the pressure will force Iran back to the negotiating table, albeit on very different terms. The administration believes Iran is cornered, facing crippling sanctions and international isolation. But Tehran sees these demands as an attack on its sovereignty, an unacceptable infringement on its national pride and independence. The choice is stark, a binary decision with profound implications. Capitulate to these demands, or face the very real possibility of military conflict. The world waits with bated breath to see if this ultimatum will break the deadlock, leading to a peaceful resolution or spark a devastating war in the Middle East. War is no longer theoretical. Israel and Iran are trading direct, devastating strikes. Israel has hit deep inside Iran, including Tehran and a nuclear research site, signaling no place is off limits. Iran retaliated with missile attacks on southern Israel, striking near a major hospital and causing civilian panic. Each side escalates, vowing further retaliation, as the conflict spirals beyond proxy battles to direct state-on-state violence. The targeting of nuclear and civilian sites marks a dangerous new phase. With every strike, the chance for diplomacy fades, the region edges closer to all-out war. The world's major powers are alarmed. Russia warns the US that striking Iran would be extremely dangerous, while China calls for an immediate ceasefire. Both nations oppose American intervention, fearing regional chaos and threats to their interests. Iran's supreme leader vows defiance, threatening US interests if attacked. The US and Israel stand together while Europe fears economic and humanitarian fallout. Global divisions deepen, leaving the main actors locked in a perilous standoff. The escalating crisis is sending shockwaves through global markets, creating a climate of uncertainty and fear. Investors are watching nervously as key indicators flash warning signs. We're seeing oil prices spiking dramatically, fueled by anxieties about potential disruptions to supply chains. These fears are centered on the possibility that the Strait of Hormuz, a vital artery for global oil transport, could be closed due to escalating tensions. Investors are bracing themselves for potentially devastating economic shockwaves as the situation remains highly volatile and unpredictable. Adding to the instability, the risk of a multi-front regional war is growing, threatening to engulf the entire Middle East. A direct conflict between Israel and Iran could quickly draw in other major world powers, escalating the crisis into a global confrontation. Such a conflict could trigger a massive refugee crisis, overwhelming neighboring countries and international aid organizations. Perhaps the most alarming prospect is that it could spark a nuclear arms race in the region, with potentially catastrophic consequences. The next 2 weeks are absolutely critical, a period where decisions made will have far-reaching implications. Ultimately, Trump's decision in the coming days will profoundly shape the future of the region and the world, setting the stage for either de-escalation or further conflict. A military strike, while potentially decisive, could unleash widespread chaos and instability across the region. However, standing down and choosing not to act also carries significant risks, potentially emboldening Iran and its allies. Furthermore, inaction could strain the historically strong US-Israel ties, creating a rift between key allies. The best hope for a peaceful resolution lies in a diplomatic breakthrough, a negotiated settlement that addresses the core issues. But realistically, the odds of achieving such a breakthrough in the current climate are slim, given the deep-seated mistrust and conflicting interests. The stakes are incredibly high, nothing less than global security, the stability of global energy markets, and ultimately, the future of peace in a volatile region.